What a headshot! What a head!
How's it, guys? This is Dayvy, FPL, and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now, as we are approaching the penultimate game week 15 before the wild card and the World Cup, we're kind of approaching a little bit of an interesting time in FPL. 1 week punts, 2 week punts. It's exactly what this video is going to be about as well in terms of the transfer plan. So in this video, as always, go over on the transfer plans. Take a look at game week 14. Was it a good game week, a bad game week? Gonna ask you guys how your game week also went. Then we're gonna move on to the transfer plan going to game week 15. And we are looking to make 1 or 2 interesting changes. Now, obviously, game week 14 had a ton of injury news. Gonna talk about those injuries. What's the plan for them going to game week 15 and beyond? So that's something you guys are interested in. Sit back, relax, and let's get straight into it. So going over the game week 14 team review, and unfortunately it was going to be a red arrow for us. Actually our first red arrow in a while. We managed to go on quite a good run of green arrows, but luckily it was a small red. So currently we're sitting at 172k, last game week was around the 150k mark, so a little bit of a small red arrow, about 20k places. That was thanks to the fact that we scored 63 points total, 4.4 million game week rank, and overall points tally of 834. Now let me know in the comments down below how you guys got on in game week 14. I mentioned this over on Twitter, but everyone on Twitter that I was looking at, everyone that I follow was getting a red arrow, so I'm surprised that there actually are people that are getting greens. But I'm sure you guys will let me know if you guys got a green arrow, how big was that green arrow, and how many points did you have to score to get it. Now looking into game week 15's transfer plan, 1 free transfer and 3.3 in the bank, so a massive upgrade could be on the cards. Now heading on to our bench department, and luckily our bench was semi-stacked for the upcoming game week 4 in terms of fixtures beforehand, but in terms of points, you guys can see 2-2-1 with Danny Ward being the highest scorer with 3 points. Now in terms of Danny Ward, the first half against Man City, I thought that he was going to get a clean sheet. You guys can see that a save point was already added to him, but he had about a save point in the first 20 minutes, and honestly thought this might be one of those days for Danny Ward. But that wasn't the case, and unfortunately a KDB kind of free kick that was very good, to be honest, managed to beat him. So you came out of that fixture with only 3 points, and luckily I chose to start the right goalkeeper. Then in terms of Coach Zuma, he'll actually be coming into our starting 11 just because of the HAALAND injury. Now in terms of West Ham, I think the first half they weren't playing too well, but the second half apparently against United played a lot better, and it was a little bit unfortunate they managed to concede against Rashford in the first half then. But still, West Ham's defense looks pretty secure, and I'm happy to own him in the upcoming game weeks. Then we have Solanke, and luckily I did bench Solanke because of the 2 pointers. This could have gone massively wrong though. If you guys did watch the fixture, you would have seen that Bournemouth went 2-0 up against Spurs, and Solanke could have been involved in 1 or 2 of those goals. So luckily though he did not, because I did bench him and he was going to come off our bench at the end of the day. Then finally Neco Williams didn't actually start the fixture of Nottingham Forest versus Arsenal, and that's why I guess they kind of conceded 5 goals, because when Neco Williams started they kept a clean sheet against Liverpool, but when he is benched they get absolutely thrashed. But no, wouldn't have had much faith in him anyways, 3rd on our bench and only the 1 point after he was subbed on. But now going on to our starting 11, and I'm going to start off the defensive masterclass with our goalkeeper of choice, Nick Pope, a nice little 6-pointer there. Now Nick Pope doesn't really like to get that many save points, that many bonus points, but I think that's kind of credit to the Newcastle defense, and at the end of the day I was happy with the clean sheet. Now Newcastle going from strength to strength this Premier League season, and really happy to keep hold of Nick Pope even after the wildcard. Was a little bit worried about this fixture, to be honest. Thought that Aston Villa, under the new manager, showed they were quite a prolific attacking team in game week 13, but I guess Newcastle's defense is not too shabby. Another defense that isn't too shabby is going to be the Man City defense. Cancelo with the 6-pointer. Now the Man City vs Leicester game wasn't as high scoring as I was anticipating, so no attacking returns came for Cancelo. But a relatively fine kind of clean sheet was on the cards in this fixture, so happy that Cancelo came out with some points. Another clean sheet was added to our back 4 with Anderson from Crystal Palace. I wasn't really expecting too much from this Crystal Palace defender, but at least there wasn't too much separating him and Gay. Now it was nice to see that Crystal Palace finally got us a clean sheet, because we've had Anderson for a couple of game weeks and he hasn't got us any points. A player that's the complete opposite of that is going to be Kieran Trippier with the massive 11-pointer, an assist, a goal and 2 bonus points. He was only kind of outshone by Almiron and also Callum Wilson. Now I see that Trippier is still an attacking asset, getting an attacking return in 1 of the 4 goals. But I wasn't lying when I spoke about the kind of defensive masterclass. I'm pretty sure that you guys would also had a kind of clean sweep of clean sheets. Quite a few of the favourable defenses actually came in clutch. But now moving on to our midfield department, I'm going to start off with our midfielder of choice and our captain of choice. It's going to be Mo Salah with the 7-pointer, double to 14. So kind of an easy decision going to game week 14 when we had news that Erling Haaland was out with that injury. Salah was the main captain of my team. Could have gone for someone like a Saka or Martinelli, but went with Salah at the end of the day because he's just a reliable premium. Now I say reliable, but I don't really mean this season. I just mean in terms of the stats. Liverpool are still looking pretty strong. Salah looks okay, and I thought against Leeds that he would do quite well. So this fixture started off really well. Him getting a goal, was super happy. Thought that he might get another one, maybe an assist even. But Liverpool really struggled after the goal and ended up losing that game 2-1. So no bonus points extra for Salah, so just the plain 2 appearance points and also the 5 points for a goal. Now the next option is kind of irritating me quite a bit in terms of my last couple game weeks. It's going to be Zaha with the massive 1-pointer. Now Zaha might be one of the most frustrating options to own in FPL. He just seems like he can't escape a yellow card. Now added to that, doesn't really seem to be the talisman we might have expected him to be because he isn't involved in every Crystal Palace goal. So very annoying, might be on the chopping block, we'll talk about him a little bit later on in the transfer plan. Then moving on to Andreas Pereira, and it seems like when everyone relies on Andreas Pereira, he doesn't get any FPL points. I think some of you guys should have put him on your bench, got him off the bench instead, because off the bench he seems to do quite well. When you guys do start him, he sometimes falters a bit. So only the 3-point appearance here, and that Fulham-Everton game was a little bit lackluster, but I will say that Fulham had a ton of chances and Andreas Pereira could have actually got an attacking return. But it is what it is at the end of the day. At his cheap price point, 3 points isn't kind of the worst return to kind of get, but I was expecting a bit more. Now the next option, I'm going to kind of separate the Arsenal assets. You guys know I own Saka and Martinelli. Let's first go over Saka because unfortunately with him, we got a little bit of bad luck there. Now as the news broke that Foden was going to be on the bench, I did the Foden to Saka move because it had quite a high ceiling. Now there were some other defensive options, could have gone for Gabriel, could have gone for a Ben White, that sort of thing, but honestly I thought that the attacking threat, and with 3 game weeks to go to the second wildcard, an attacking transfer was more likely. So I went for the high ceiling play and Saka started off the game really well, Martinelli goal, a Saka assist, but then he went off injured in the first 20 minutes. Now to make matters worse, Reece Nelson came off the bench and he got 2 goals and an assist. I know you can't really go like to like, you can't say that Reece Nelson scored 2 goals, so Saka would have, but I honestly think that Saka would have got another attacking return. So we'll have to settle for the 4 points, and this makes it quite unlucky because the Foden to Saka move, I don't believe it was worth those 3 points, especially if Foden's will be back for game week 15 and Saka won't. But it is what it is at the end of the day. I do think the backing of the information was worth it. The decision was right, unfortunately the outcome was a little bit skewed. Then moving on to Martinelli, I spoke about that goal. First off, Martinelli goal, Saka assist in the opening kind of 20 minutes. Unfortunately, Martinelli only played about 60 minutes, was subbed off in the second half, and I guess getting only 1 attacking return in that kind of 5-0 was a little bit disappointing. But like Saka, it is what it is, and at least he got an 8-pointer. Now moving on to our forward line, and Erling Haaland is the big talking point. I've left him in the starting 11 because I wanted to talk about him on his own. So obviously Kurt Zuma will come off the bench for Erling Haaland, but he wasn't even on the bench in that fixture. Now what Pep Guardiola said in his press conference after the game was that Erling Haaland had some ligament damage in his foot and therefore he might not even be ready for game week 15. Now this is slightly worrying for me because I do really need him, very expensive option and a perma captain option anyways, and I was looking to captain him in game week 14. But luckily though, we did get news. They were playing the first game of the game week, so the news came about and we're able to make a decision. Now as this kind of midweek progresses, I would pay attention to the news. I'd especially wait for that kind of Champions League game. However, Pep Guardiola did say that he probably won't feature against Sevilla as Man City have already qualified for the knockouts of the Champions League. So let's hope that we do get some news in the press conference on Thursday or Friday, but also make sure that you guys look out for early team news as Man City are yet again playing the first fixture. But we'll be talking about Erling Haaland a little bit later on, so now let's go to our last option in our starting 11. It's going to be Mitrovic. As mentioned with Andreas, Fulham Everton was a little bit of a boring game, 0-0 at the end of the day, and Mitrovic also racked up a yellow card that could have actually been a red. So I guess a little bit lucky there, but I was expecting something from this Fulham attack, and the double up didn't pay dividend. So as you guys can see, in terms of the starting 11, we had a massive defensive performance. Yes, Salah scored a goal as our captain, which I was pretty happy about, but the rest of the midfielders didn't pull their weight, and we did get a little bit unlucky with the Saka injury. But as mentioned earlier on, let me know what you guys did. Did you also bring in Saka for Foden this week? Did you go for a differential captain like a Jesus? And were you one of those lucky Callum Wilson owners? But now going on to the transfer plan for the upcoming game week, and unfortunately because of the game week 4 injuries, there's a lot of kind of speculation about are these players going to be back for game week 15. The first one and the obvious big one is going to be Erling Haaland. Will he actually be back for game week 15? Taking the comments after the fixture from Pep Guardiola, it seems like there might be a chance for Fulham on the weekend, and that's not really holding thumbs because that's a massive fixture. Now if Haaland's not back for game week 15, he might be back for game week 16. That's why I would recommend holding on to him, as you probably look to captain him in game week 16 if he is going to be fit. So yes, at the current moment, as I'm recording this video on Monday night, Erling Haaland is going to be out. We also have Bukayo Saka that probably won't feature, but I'm also waiting for Arteta news on his injury. Now as we go through the transfer plan, I might kind of go for my transfer target instead of the transfer out because there might be 1 or 2 options, or I might just go for a player that I want to lose for my starting 11. Now we do have 1 free transfer and 3.3 million in the bank, so quite a significant upgrade can be made if you want to go for it. So I'll be going through a couple of different transfer scenarios depending on the injury news, and then going to the team selection later this week, I'll make a final decision. But as always, please make sure that you guys are in the deadline stream. I'll be doing a stream for game week 15, don't worry. No, game week 14 is a little bit rushed, but game week 15 will be the usual hour. So going on to our first transfer target, and I'm going to bring in Phil Foden here. Yes, I did actually just transfer him out pre-game week 14, but I want to bring him back in for those lovely fixtures. So Fulham at home and Brentford at home, both those two defenses have been struggling this Premier League season, and you guys know Man City's attack is absolutely insane. Now it was a little bit weird for me that Foden was benched in game week 14, he had a rest in game week 13, and therefore hasn't really been playing that much football, but I guess he was injured or ill in that previous game. But I will be monitoring the forums and also the team selection news going into that deadline stream because if Phil Foden starts, I definitely want him in my FPL team. Now in terms of options I could potentially replace Phil Foden with, the first one's the obvious one, it's going to be Saka. So unfortunately with Saka, if we get news that he's going to be out until the World Cup, something like that, I think he'll be an easy sell because this kind of position has a high upside. Now if Saka will be fit for the upcoming game week, I'll probably keep him. Chelsea away and then also Wolves away aren't too bad, and also playing a great attacking style. So let's wait and see on Saka, but if he will be back for Game Week 15, I could make another alternative. That alternative will be Wilfried Zaha, and the reason I'm going for this is that unfortunately Crystal Palace are terrible away from home, and Wilfried Zaha has just become a little bit annoying to own. Now West Ham away in Game Week 15 is a super tough game. We mentioned how good that West Ham defense can be, and therefore that combination of a good defensive side and Crystal Palace's bad away form makes them an easy transfer out. And yes, I do know there is Nottingham Forest in Game Week 16, which is a really good fixture, but honestly I think I might have lost patience. So either these two transfers could be made. Let's just say that we get news that Erling Haaland will be fit for the upcoming game week. Don't have to make a transfer on him. This could be an easy transfer if Saka's out injured, or if we just want to take out Wilfried Zaha. Now another transfer option that I was potentially looking at is, let's just say we get news that Erling Haaland is not starting on the weekend against Fulham. I might look for another Man City asset to captain. Now in terms of captaincy options, yes, I could go for a Foden if I want to go for him, could go for a Cancelo, that sort of thing, but I do think the best option from that team is going to be Kevin De Bruyne. So De Bruyne comes in after scoring in Game Week 14, which might have raised our eyebrows. So let's just hope if we do bring him in, he can continue that scoring form into Game Week 15. Now yes, I do have 3.2 million in the bank, but I can't exactly afford too many moves, and that's why unfortunately I have to say goodbye to Mo Salah, who has a fixture against Spurs. Now the thing about Liverpool though is they do kind of raise their game against the better opposition. We saw this with them beating Man City, but then losing to Nottingham Forest and also Leeds. But I do think this transfer will be worth it if I want to captain Kevin De Bruyne, and as I said, I do favour him as the captaincy option going to Game Week 15. But this move will only happen if Erling Haaland is out with that injury, and I still want to keep him for Game Week 16. Let me know what you guys think about this move down below. Do you favour Mo Salah against Spurs on the weekend, or do you think Kevin De Bruyne is a much better option? Now the last two transfer options I'm going to be looking at are going to be the more sensible option. Let's just say that Haaland will be back for Game Week 15. Saka's back in training, that sort of thing, and he should be fine for the upcoming fixture. This could be the only move I do, or this could be a combination of moves for a -4 hit. Now this transfer is going to be the obvious one. It's going to be Mitrovic out in our forward line, has Man City away, and then also Man United at home. So two Manchester clubs back to back, which doesn't really look that strong. So this transfer is almost no-brainer, a planned transfer, and now the injuries have happened, which might put this on the back burner. Now in terms of replacements, the obvious one is going to be Callum Wilson, the player that everyone's kind of jumping on. Had a massive, I think, 19-pointer in Game Week 14, and therefore obviously everyone's attention's on him. Now he has an upcoming fixture against Southampton away and then Chelsea at home, but as you guys know, Chelsea are conceding for fun, and Newcastle look really strong. So definitely kind of an easy transfer if you guys want to go for it, or you Ivan Toney owners are probably going to Callum Wilson, and us Mitrovic owners could also jump on this bandwagon. Now if I don't want to go super template, but I don't really think that Callum Wilson is template, we covered him in the last Ultimate Guide, and I think his ownership was 2.3%, but an option even less owned is going to be Calvert-Lewin. Now I know that Everton's performance against Fulham wasn't that great, but they do have nice fixtures coming up against Leicester at home and then Bournemouth away. Now what I will say though is that Leicester's defense has improved dramatically, only conceding 1 goal to Man City is a feat on its own, and that's why I'm not super confident about Calvert-Lewin scoring in this fixture. But yes, this will be an alternative if I want to go for it, kind of a nice differential to look at, as these two fixtures look simply outstanding. But kind of going over these 4 transfers, I do think kind of the Foden move is the most appealing to me. I think the upside of a Man City attack is absolutely massive, especially if Erling Haaland's back for Game Week 15. But let's just say that Haaland isn't. I think the KD move does make sense, but I do still favour Mo Salah to do quite well against a poor form Spurs. But you guys can let me know what you guys are doing in the comments down below. Game Week 15 looks like it's going to be an interesting one. Let's just hope that these injuries don't ruin it. This is basically wrap up the video, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy it. Please don't forget to like if you didn't subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. I'll be seeing you guys for the team selection, the Ultimate Guide coming up over the next few days. And hopefully I see you in the Dayline stream coming up on Saturday. But I'm going to sign off with Dayvy FPL, and I'm out. Cheers, bye.